Hi, my name is Cassandra Alexius, matrix number 180180. So today I'm going to explain briefly about the carbohydrate digestion in horse, but I am going to focus more on the fermentation part. So basically the carbohydrate digestion in horse begins at the mouth, and then it will goes to the stomach. The feed will then goes into the stomach via the esophagus. Then after that, the partially digested food will then move into the small intestine, where here the breakdown of protein, fats, and carbohydrates occur. As for the remaining undigested feed, it will then go into the large intestine, which is also known as the hindgut. So, um, the as since we are focused more on the carbohydrate digestion, the insoluble carbohydrates such as cellulose, hemicellulose, and pectin, as well as starch and other soluble carbohydrates that were not digested in the small intestine, these feed will then flow into the cecum, which is the first part of the large intestine. Actually, the fermentation process of the undigested nutrients that occurs in the cecum is very much similar to what happened in the rumen of the ruminants. So, firstly, the food matter will need to stay in the cecum for up to 7 hours in order to ensure that the microbes have sufficient time to ferment the undigested food. This process of fermentation is aided and helped by billions of different microorganisms, which are bacteria, some protozoa, and even fungi. And at the same time, a neutral pH in the cecum must be maintained, as this condition affects the microbes population in the cecum. The fermentation process also requires a large amount of water so that it runs smoothly. So during the fermentation process, the undigested carbohydrate will be broken down to release volatile fatty acids, which is the VFA. There are three most common VFA, which are acetate, propionate, and butyrate. In addition to these compounds, water, heat, and gas are also produced. And besides that, it is also acetate. Acetate can be absorbed directly into the bloodstream of the horse and used as energy. Besides that, it can also be used as a source of fat in lactating a mare's milk. A mare is a female horse actually. So, and as for propionate and butyrate, they can be used as energy as well, but then they must be first converted into other products and then eventually glucose. And then after fermentation, the feed will then enters in the large colon for further microbial digestion and absorption. There are also bacteria present there, and this bacteria actually helps in the fermentation of the cellulose, and that the nutrients later that made from the microbial digestion will then be absorbed in the large colon. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Afiqah Zafira bint Abdul Rahman, matrix number 180246. So today I'll be sharing about our third SCL activity, which is what happens to the horse if it overconsumes banana. And my part, I discussed about the digestion that occurs inside the foregut. So basically, the horse digestive system is divided into two, which is the foregut and the hindgut. The foregut consists of stomach and small intestine, and the hindgut consists of cecum. So carbohydrates also could be divided into two, which is structural carbohydrates and non-structural carbohydrates. Usually the non-structural carbohydrates are easily digested, and it is digested in the small intestine, where an enzyme, which is enzyme amylase, will be produced to break down the carbohydrates into simpler molecules. And the structural carbohydrates needs to undergo fermentation processes which occurs inside the cecum by the help of microbial bacteria. The rate of digestion depends on the feed type that the horse consumes, which is whether it is structural or non-structural carbohydrate. So basically, the small intestine covers about 28% of the digestive system of a horse, and it could be divided into three parts, which is the jejunum, duodenum, and ileum. So the digestion of carbohydrates starts at the mouth of the horse, which contains amylase, but it only contains only small portion of amylase, so only small portion of carbohydrates are digested inside the mouth. Then it continues in the stomach, where the digestion of carbohydrates stops due to the acidic environment, which inhibits the enzyme action of the amylase. And to further down the step, the digestion occurs inside the small intestine, which is the duodenum. The pancreas produces pancreatic enzyme, and amylase produced and pancreatic amylase is produced to break down the carbohydrates into simpler sugar. But the amylase produced is also little, which could be easily overwhelmed in the process if it's too excess. If the carbohydrate intake is too excess. So that's all from me. Thank you.
My name is Chris M. Powansi, and my matrix number is 180329. 180329. Based on the fifth LAX activity that we just did, which is biochemistry and body function, the digestive system, we were given a scenario where what will happen if 400 kg horse consume more than 200 kg of bananas. So actually horse can eat bananas because of the potassium's importance in muscle function, including muscle contraction and also excitability, where bananas are particularly beneficial to horses in races, competitions and other high energy situations. They also help to provide the much needed energy for horses in such situations. So although bananas can be healthy, they should only be fed in moderation, and an excess of potassium can actually be detrimental to horse health and also their muscle function. So too much potassium can actually prevent a horse muscle from properly relaxing and can lead to muscle stiffness. So a diet too rich in potassium can also prevent the horse from absorbing other important nutrients such as calcium and also magnesium. So horses, they utilize different feed components for energy that can either be used immediately or stored for later use. So dietary carbohydrates, fats and proteins can all be used for energy, and a horse should receive at least 1% of its body weight in forage. So most horses would eat about 1.5 to 2% of their body weight in forage to safely meet their energy needs. So digestible energy, like DE, is also measured in megacalories per kilogram of feed. So this DE requirements for a 400 kg horse is 13.36 megacalories as for maintenance, and the amount of calories in 20 kg banana is as high as 19 megacalories. So DE excesses actually lead to increasing stored energy in the body by way of depositing adipose, or which is known as fat tissue. So a fat horse will develop nutritionally related disease like laminitis, metabolic disorders, and in young growing horse, joint problems. So for overweight horses are actually less athletic and have more trouble in cooling down during exercise, especially during hot climate. So to conclude everything, the amount of calories in 20 kg banana is actually way too high and it is excess for a 400 kg horse. Thank you.
Morning everyone, my name is Yong Ilin and my metric number is 180271. So today I'm going to present about the case study given last week, which is about the case given a scenario, a horse with 400 kg is consumed with more than 20 kg of the bananas and what will happen. So from the research that we have done, there are a few objectives that we have found in order to carry out this research. So what are the objectives? First, we have to investigate the fermentation process in a horse, especially in the fibrous and in carbohydrate, and also as well as the products that is formed in the end of digestion. The second objective is to find out the consequences of the excessive amount of the banana that has been consumed. So today I would like to emphasize more on composition of the banana. So what we can know about banana is actually a source of form of energy which contains more of the non-structural carbohydrate. So what is this non-structural carbohydrate? Non-structural carbohydrate is also known as easily digestible carbohydrate. It consists about 85 to 93% of the dry matter in the banana. So basically, we have found that the composition of the banana depends on the degree of the maturation of the banana. We have known that there are two types of banana, which are immature banana fruits and matured banana fruits. Usually, immature banana fruits can be found in green color, and it only contains of starch, which are mainly carbohydrate. Whereas for the main banana, which is in yellow color, starch are usually transformed into soluble sugars such as glucose, fructose, and sucrose. They also contain much more 70% of the sugar compared to immature banana. And this matured banana also consists of water, which is about 70 to 80% of the content. Lastly, the matured banana also contains a low concentration of the crude protein than other extracts such as minerals and crude fibers. Um, so talk about the banana. What are the consequences of the banana when the horse consume more than 20 kg of the banana? So first, we have to know that banana also consists of potassium, which horses are safe to be consumed. What are the function of the potassium is to help in the muscle function, especially the muscle contraction for the horse. However, banana should be consumed in moderate amount. Too much of potassium will cause the muscle to be stiff in the horse. So actually, excessive amount of potassium also will prevent the absorption of the nutrients such as calcium and magnesium. So based on the information that we have found, a horse should actually receive at least 1% of its body weight to its forage. So most probably the horse will consume at least about 1.5 to 2% of their body weight in forage to safely meet their daily requirements, especially for their energy use in races. And so what if the horse actually consume more or too much of the banana is excess carbohydrate will actually store as fat in their adipose tissue. So this will lead to nutritionally disease, for example like laminitis and metabolic disorder in the horses. So in conclusion, we found that 20 kg of the banana is just too much for the horses, especially with a weight of 400 kg, because it will eventually lead to overweight horses, which are not really optimal for the horses. So that's all about my presentation. Thank you.
This is my Sarah binti Zahara, matrix number 180267. 180-267. Today I'll be discussing on the LAX fifth activity, which is the digestive system of a horse. So the digestive system of a horse starts from the mouth, where the horse grabs the food with the combination of the lips and the teeth. So in the mouth, it contains saliva. Saliva contains bicarbonate, which is to protect the body, the stomach, from becoming too acidic, as well as amylase, which is to help in the digestion process of carbohydrates. So the saliva helps to moisten the feed, which is to allow it to be easier to be swallowed. Next, the feed will be entered the stomach through esophagus. In the stomach, there is no carbohydrate digestion occur. This is because of the acidic condition of the stomach. So in the stomach, it focuses more on the protein digestion. So in the stomach, there are no fermentation process occurs. This is because if the fermentation process occurs, it will produce more gas, and the gas will cause colic to the horse. So in the stomach, the pH value of it must be really low to avoid such fermentation process occur. So next, the undigested feed will then goes to the small intestine. Here, there is a large amount of digestion process of carbohydrates occur. This is because due to the presence of pancreatic amylase in the small intestine. So the pancreatic amylase helps to break down the carbohydrates into smaller forms, which is monosaccharides or disaccharides. So these monosaccharides or disaccharides will be absorbed into the bloodstream and then utilized as energy. Next, the flow of the undigested process will go to the large intestine. This will help to further down the breaking process of the carbohydrates. This will produce simpler forms of carbohydrates compound, which is volatile fatty acids. So these volatile fatty acids will then be utilized for energy, such as for growth, production of milk in mares, and pregnancy. Next, the remaining feed will then continue the path to cecum. In the cecum, the remaining feed will then be going through the fermentation process for about 7 hours. This fermentation process helps to further break down the feed into smaller forms, and this will help into the absorption of the nutrients in the bloodstream. Next, the remaining feed will then go to the large colon, where the fermentation process furthers for about 48 to 65 hours. And then the remaining feed will then go to the small colon and continues the path, and where in the small colons, the excessive moisture will then be absorbed into the bloodstream. And what is left is the remaining undigested feed. So this remaining undigested feed will be formed as feces and then will be excreted through the anus. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nuriza binti Tukiran. My matrix number is 18024. So today I'm going to talk about the differences of monogastric digestive system and ruminant digestive system. Basically, the ruminant for the monogastric digestive system, it has a different compartments of stomach, which is for the monogastric, it has a single chamber stomach, which has limited ability to digest unutilized fiber, except for the horse. Meanwhile, for the ruminant, it has four-chambered complex stomach, which is the ruminant, reticulum, omasum, and abomasum, and it has high ability to digest unutilized fibrous food. For the aspect of digestive tract, basically the monogastric has same digestive tract like a human, which is they start with the mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and some of the supportive organs such as the liver, pancreas, and gallbladder. Meanwhile, for the ruminant, it has the same digestive tract like the monogastric, but the part which is the different is the compartment of the stomach, which I have been stated just now. So for the digestive process in the monogastric, which has digest, which is very familiar with humans and as well as another animals which is has the monogastric type of digestive system. For the monogastric herbivores, which can digestive cellulose nearly as well as ruminants are called pygons fermenters. A monogastric digestive system is actually work as soon as the food enters the mouth, and saliva will help to moisten the food, and the digestive system will begin. After it has been swallowed, food passes from the esophagus into stomach, where stomach acid will actually help to break down the particles into small parts. And the monogastric digestive usually will digest cellulose in their diet by the way of symbiosis gut bacteria through microbial fermentation. But the ability to extract energy is less efficient compared to the ruminant. And besides, they do not undergo the regurgitation process like the ruminant did. And meanwhile, for the blood salt, which is stored in the gallbladder, will actually empty the content of the stomach, and it will break down the fats. And the pancreas that secretes the enzymes and alkali will help to neutralize the stomach acid. For the digesting process in ruminant, it will actually start at the first chamber, which is the ruminant and reticulum, which is the food will actually mix with saliva and separated into layers of solid and liquid materials. The solid will actually comes together to form the cut. The cut will next be regurgitated back to the mouth so that it will be broken down into small pieces and easy to be digested. The fibers, especially the cellulose and hemicellulose, is primarily broken down into the chambers by microbes, and the protein is also fermented. For the third chamber, which is the omasome, which is act as a filter, actually allow liquids and small digestive food particles to pass through to the fourth chamber, which is the omasome, and the large particles are selectively will be filtered and broken down further, which is allow the animals to extract maximum nutrients from the diet.